Hey guys, how's it going? Mario here. Hey, I wanted to make a video. Yesterday I was watching a video from Gun Enthusiast. Uh, Good guy, good channel. Check him out. He started talking about gun safety and all this other stuff, and kind of brought something up that I was gonna make a video about this before I went training in June, and I've been busy, and lately now I just have time. But I wanted to talk about, us as parents, we need to ensure we educate our kids the right way. It seems to me that, many of these schools and universities are teaching the kids these crazy liberal ways, which I tend to not agree with. Um, I just recently, my oldest daughter is a college student. She just finished her freshman year at Cal State Bakersfield. For all you guys that are not familiar, in California they have two types of colleges that are run by the state. Which one? One is University of California, and they have different universities all over the place. The big ones are like UCLA and UC Berkeley, which is crazy hippie town. And also you have the Cal State system, which is like you got your Cal State Fullertons and stuff like that. My daughter was doing. She has a U.S. history class that she was taking, and her professor was talking about the Second Amendment and how uh, all these things in the Constitution need to be changed, especially the Second Amendment because it's an uh, antiquated amendment and should be changed. And she asked me what I thought about it. And of course, I don't force my kids into thinking the way I do. I am a Republican. I am conservative. I'm very different than most people out there. Most Hispanics out there, because most Hispanics are Democrats, and I don't believe in that. It's a proven fact that the Democrats can't even fucking lead. So obviously, guys, I've never been a Democrat, never will be. I would probably end up being a Libertarian or a Green Party before I ever decide to become a Democrat, if that shit would ever happen. But to make a long story short, she asked me whether I thought the Second Amendment was important. And it kind of goes back to a story of mine that goes back when I was in Iraq. When I was in Iraq, my first year, I ended up being on patrol, and my patrol area was about 10 miles, 10 by 20, and these are all miles. These are all big areas that we had to cover, right? And I had this farmer named Mohammad, who who I would see on a regular basis because he was kind of close to our fob or our little base. And I got to know his family. I got to know him. He was a good guy. He would always give us a lot of good intel, which is always good. But what happened is that during our occupation time, somebody in the U.S. government decided to disarm many of the Iraqis. Many of the Iraqis during the Saddam regime were able to own an AK-47, either a rifle or pistol, or have 100 rounds. Well, they decided to disarm many of the Iraqi citizens, so many of them were hurting. They had no way of protecting themselves. Mohammed was one of those guys, and he came up to me and he told me, "Look, I'm nervous. I'm nervous something's gonna happen." And I told him, "You know what? You need to make sure you take care of me and my family." And of course, I was naive at that time. I was like, "Yeah, no problem, Mohammed. Nothing's gonna happen to you, whatever." Well, to make a long story short, we ended up getting a MP unit, or military police unit, uh, helping us out with our area. So they took over our area, and I didn't get to see Muhammad for about 2 months. So during that time, Muhammad had been raided by a couple Al Qaeda guys, and they were basically living in his house. Basically took over his house, his crops, his farm, his wife and kids, and told him, "You go live in the chicken coop with the freaking chickens and the goats." Can you imagine that shit? You being an honest, law-abiding citizen, and some guy comes in with a gun, takes over your house, and tells you to go live in the chicken coop. That's what happened to Muhammad. So then he was ordered to place an IED on an American convoy, and for him to have a cell phone nearby. So basically, he would dial the cell phone and the IED would go off. So think about it. You had no other way of able to protect yourself, your family, and you have to go do this against your will. So Mohammed did. Mohammed ended up, placing an IED. He ended up damaging one of the lead vehicle. The second vehicle of the convoy ended up shooting Mohammed, but he was hurting. He was in our 8th station, and it was kind of a crazy coincidence because I was getting ready to go on patrol, and I decided to take myself and my medic, and we are gonna go get some medical supplies because we needed some other ones. We had just gotten in a firefight and had a couple of guys that had got hurt a couple of days before, so we're getting some medical supplies, and I see Mohammed in the 8th station, dying. I mean, he's pretty much bleeding out because there's only so much you can do when a machine gun shoots you up, And I had my interpreter with me, and I asked him what happened, and he basically told me the story. I mean, as he's dying, he's telling me his story. And and I told that to my kid, and I told her, "Can you imagine if that was you? Can you imagine if that was any of us? If somebody would just come over and take over your livelihood?" So this is why I told my kid, you know what? What happens if for some reason, then just think of it this way. I live in California, which is probably the most anti-gun state in the world. Okay, what happens if everybody in the state of California becomes disarmed? And let's say we have countries such as North Korea or Russia or China come and invade California because obviously we're next to the coast. So what would happen, and people are thinking, Mario, you're kind of crazy. I mean, that stuff would never happen. Guys, we never thought 9/11 would happen, and it happened, and what would happen if somebody would come into my house, take over my house, take over my kids, and start, doing the unforgettable to your family. And that's what I tell my kids, because you know what, the Second Amendment at that time, when the founding fathers created it, it wasn't just to protect us from the government, but it was also for national security. And a lot of people don't think that way. Most Americans are pampered, and I mean seriously pampered. Many of you guys have never seen fucking an IED go off in your neighborhood, or somebody come inside your house and shoot you up, or any close quarter battles, because that's never happened in the United States. We have been pampered, and because of that, all these liberals with all these crazy fucking ideas think that it's great for us to just control everybody from having a gun. What I'm telling you is that having guns protects you, saves lives in the long run. Yes, there is a couple of crazies out there that have done stupid things, like that guy from Santa Barbara that ended up shooting all these kids, and that other guy from Santa Monica that ended up going into another college and shooting a lot of people, or that crazy fucker in LAX that shot a TSA agent. All these things are isolated. You know what? You can't, how can I put it? You can't take that against everybody else who owns a gun, because it's not our fault. We didn't create it, A lot of us are law-abiding citizens, and this is why I believe gun control does not work, guys. And this is my story that I told my kid, and after I told her that, she did a really good 10-page essay, and she kind of, talked a little bit about my story. And of course, the liberal professor didn't like what she had to read, but, the thing about it is that she ended up still getting an A. But I think the story, or the moral of the story is, guys, is that all of us that are parents or uncles or we have nieces or grandparents or whatever the case may be, whatever type of relationship you have with the youth of America, you guys have to explain certain things to them, and try to ensure that they know what the consequences are when we start disarming our own people. All right, guys, I'm done rambling. I just want to kind of bring this up, because I thought maybe it's a good story. Maybe you guys might like it, and I tell you, Mohammed, that could be any of us, guys. And when I mean Mohammed, I don't want to insult anybody who is Arab descendant. My thing is I just use that name because it's a common name, and in a way I don't want to offend anybody. So there's a lot of good people that are Arabs and Muslims, and I don't have nothing against them. My thing is just a few that mess it up for the rest of them. So, guys, like always, God bless you. God bless the United States of America, and I'm out.